can say it honestly, I don't believe the same thing about money at 40 than I did at 20 and even early 30s, frankly. It's been a learning curve that started, I think, mostly with business, also living on my own as well as a grown-up and trying to figure out, how to be a responsible adult with enough money to survive and do more. But I would say overall, like my relationship with money has certainly changed, and I thought I'd share with you today because it's been a lot of work on my mindset of how emotional I am about how I spend, or how I see money as a whole. And I think it might be interesting for you as well because I know a lot of adults have had to do this work, or if you've been an entrepreneur or somebody who had to, like just figure out how to live on your own. It's a lot of work, I would say, and it's a lot of things that we are not really taught. I can say frankly and with full honesty, I was so uneducated about money and finances and personal wealth in general. I feel this is something that was never talked about at school. I was trying to really think about when I heard about money the first time, and I think you see the maybe like they talk about the economic crisis, or they talk about demand and supply and some kind of like general economical concept, but there is nowhere like something that says, hey, this is how you need to take care of your money. This is how you actually create as early as possible in life. You start saving and you start investing and you start creating things that help you have a good life where you can actually not be all the time thinking from scarcity. I feel this was really never covered at school. I hope that nowadays they do this type of classes because it's really, really important. And I think a lot of adults still need to catch up on that. But I was also looking at, the relationship with money in my family, because I think a lot of the belief that we have around this type of things usually come from what we see when we are being raised. And in my family, money was not something for kids. It was really something that was used a lot of time as a way to create dependency. Like we never had, for instance, like pocket money or anything that could teach us as kids the value of money, how to save, how to really make choices with money, like these kind of things that could actually have helped building some relationship with money in general. This is not something that happened to me. It was not really, explained, or it was like something for grown-ups. I remember my mother doing like like at the end of the month, she had all the receipt and she was checking all the bank accounts and matching the receipt with the line on the bank accounts. But it was never really something where, we talk about how to invest, how to like real estate or whatever, like anything that would actually make a human being grow up educated was not something that was really shared. I was even like told off the first time I did an internship and I got some of my own money. I decided to use it to go on a holidays for a weekend. I just paid myself a weekend because I thought, oh, first time I'm getting money, first time I can do something that I want without having to ask anybody. And I was like, yeah, I'm going on holidays. And that was really met with a very bad reaction from my family. So it's like there's been a lot of like, oh, money is the way we can control you. Money is what we give to you. Therefore, we create a relationship like this. But as soon as you are independent with your money, then it's a different story. So for me, like growing up, there wasn't a real, either money was not talked about, or there was some kind of really like money creates dependency and creates and removes freedom from you. That was a little bit what I was learning around that. And then I started living alone. I moved out of I started being on my own, and I started having to pay my own bills and rent my own apartment and stuff like this. I started to have to learn how to be careful with invoices, how to know which invoice I had to pay and not. And I really faced a lot of like rough patches at the beginning because I was starting from basically almost zero, like in terms of money. I was just starting to get my first salaries, and I had to build up from there. And sometimes I had to move places, and it cost me way more than I thought. Sometimes I had to buy furniture for the whole new place, so I had to pay like the people to move things between different countries, or I had to something stop working in my flat, and then I had to pay for the repairs. And it's a bit unexpected, so you start getting the reality of what it means to have to handle money, I would say. And I think during this time I was really focused more on like, oh, I need to save. Like I'm getting money, I'm spending what I need to spend, but the rest is gonna go in my pocket and it's gonna be saved, and then I can be safe. And I feel this was really my mindset around money at the beginning, was really like save as much as possible, be very frugal, buy the minimum stuff, but that start saving. And it was a bit of I think maybe a fear of losing independence if I was not having enough, of course. But I also thought like saving is what smart people do. Like smart people save money, right? And I was not too worried about pension at the time, because pension was like, okay, I'm in my 20s, 25, something like this. Like pension is for like old people who are like 55, and that's when you start need to worry about this. So yeah, I was really in this mindset of more like, I'm really good at saving, and I started noticing that I had also some weird relationship with money in some way. Like, for instance, spending to buy a gift for somebody else, no problem. But spending money on myself, like buying myself a course or something, like, like books or stuff like this, I was always like, should I spend it? Should I not spend it? Same thing, spending money on the book was actually better for me than spending money on food. Like thinking about going to the restaurant and pay super expensive meals, for me, it's like, so I started noticing that I had like relationship with different things, and sometimes contradictory, even for the same amount of money, or for depending on who was receiving that. I was really not necessarily thinking about this in a way that was necessarily healthy, or it was like I have some attachment to, like, it's a bit too strong. It's not like I was like counting all the pennies and stuff like this, but it was more like on the side of I'm saving, and that's what makes me good with money, as my own goal, my only goal, I would say. And then I opened a business. And that's what taught me the most about how to handle that. A lot because I was doing some personal development courses, and part of it was talking about wealth and finances and things like this. But definitely with a business, I had to learn to invest for sure. I did pay, I think my coaching certification was $10,000, which was roughly around 7.5K in UK pounds. This was the biggest amount of money I had to pay at the same time. And I can tell you, I was freaking out. Like, I had the money in the bank. I think I had saved, with all the good saving I was doing. I think I had like 25K in the bank, but I had like, it's like, oh, that moment where you click on the button on your banking app to pay, or to, in the shopping cart where you can pay on it. It's like, oh my God. It's like, you're like, you don't want to touch the screen, and you're like, oh no, I'm just click. And then you just feel it in your body. It was really, really, really bad. And then I had to keep, doing this type of thing. So I invested in a coach, for instance, for a business coach with a group that did not really work. So I made a mistake with that investment. I did another investment in another program, which was fine, but actually I thought I could pay and attend the event and get the money back from doing the work, but actually, no, you had to pay, and then you have to keep paying every month until you've paid everything before you can attend that course, which made absolutely no fucking sense to me, but that's how it works. And they had some kind of hidden fees in there that I think I had to pay like one extra month of money for that, and it was like a lot of experiences between, like, making big buying, and also, being smart with the money I was receiving with the business, which, I also learned like profits and what isn't profit. So technically my business was profitable because the money was coming in, was covering all the expenses, but I could not pay myself. So that was a different, it's a different story around money. It's like, what can be success in the business or not. There was a lot of emotion attached to it, like a lot of emotion attached to the amount of money I was getting, the amount of money I was paying. Like, there was a lot of it became attached to my level of success, to my level of confidence, to my identity as well, which was also very, very hard to manage. I was always dreaming about passive income. I was seeing all these people on Instagram saying, oh, you can build a business by, I don't know, like creating one notebook on Canva, and then you put it on Amazon, and people are going to buy, and you're going to be, or Etsy, and you're going to be super rich. And there was a lot of like, all this kind of relationship with money. Like, I hope money was going to be easier. And yeah, I think I would have also freaked out somehow the other way around. Like, if I had had too much money suddenly because I was very successful in business, I think I would have had another type of emotion around it. So yeah, there was a lot of like more, I would say, more negative attachment around money and how much was coming. I also had to do a lot of work on my mindset around sales as well, because obviously it was impacting the business. But for instance, learning to ask money at levels that were above my own beliefs was very hard. So because I had paid like 7.5K for a certification, I was like, okay, some people are crazy enough to pay this type of money in one go. So I was like, I might be able to ask 3.5K for a coaching program for 12 weeks for people. But I had to work my way through that, because sometimes, I was like, oh, this person is an old colleague that I already know from before. I'm going to give them a discount, right? Or, oh, I'm actually asking for this exact pricing, but then the client is freaking out while I'm saying that because for them it's a big amount, and then they are projecting their own beliefs about what is too much money, what is not, what they can afford to pay to themselves, and invest in themselves. And all of this was really hard to navigate at the beginning, to figure out how to be confident to ask for this. And it was really an exercise of trusting myself and saying, you know what, I deserve this. This is a good amount of money. And then, next time, in another year, I'm going to increase again, and just practice increasing that and going for it. And sometimes being surprised. I remember the very first client, she was a salesperson. So for them, like money is something that they are always around. They're always talking about budgets and millions and stuff like this. So I was like, can you pay 4K? Because her company was paying for that. And she was like, yeah, of course. And I was like, okay, this was good. But yeah, I think I learned a lot about, like how not to attach value and identity and confidence to the amount of money that you are claiming or that you are receiving, as a way to kind of having a more like healthier relationship with that. Even with just, I'm doing a job search right now. The same thing for the amount of money. For me, it's like, it's one thing. Obviously, it needs to be enough to serve me well, but I am not running after the amount of money that is extreme, because I feel this will create a lot of problems. Or like, it's not, I'm not so attached with the amount of money as I could be, or as other people are. And I feel this is for me, I feel it's healthy, because it helps me stay in a place where I feel I'm getting enough, but I can still invest, but I can still save. So I feel good about it. And yeah, these are all already some money mindset. I hope you're seeing the journey there. It was an interesting one. And there are a few things that I'm doing now that are also linked to all these things, that are also making my relationship with money a bit better. The first one is to just learn more. I think this is something I wish I had done earlier, but I learned about investments. I learned about like how much fees they are charging and which are the best place to invest. I learned about pension. So I feel I'm late, because this is something I'm only starting to do now. I've started doing that in my after 35, which is quite late, but I would say honestly, it's better to start whenever you can, and just build the steps and just compound something. Right now I'm unemployed, so I cannot, spend a lot of money on that, but I'm still saving, I'm still investing 150 quid a month into something that is growing on its own, and it's building itself like this. And it's like just starting somewhere and not feeling that you are behind, because this is how I felt when I started reading about this. I'm like, oh my God, I should have started this at 25. With all the savings I had, I could be now in a way better place and way safer financially, and I would not need to work, or I would not be worried about things at all. And it's like, sometimes I feel I'm behind. It's like, okay, no, this is another money mindset that you need to change. It's like, you did not do it, okay, now you've learned, now you can start building, and now you just need to take the steps, and based on the month you can invest a little bit more, you can invest in different things. But yeah, it's just like having some sorry, I'm gonna sneeze, gonna look at the light. Okay, that's okay. I don't know why I keep talking about investment is making me want to sneeze, but anyway. So yeah, just having a little bit more like patience with yourself as well, if you feel that you are behind, but just starting the work. I also changed my relationship with saving, and stop thinking about it as the holy grail. I'm still saving as much as I can when I have the possibility. So if it's a normal month where I'm receiving normal salary, I'm gonna save like 400, 500 quid a month, just to have enough to keep myself afloat. But right now, I'm also thinking more about trying to not just save for the future, but also save and spend a little bit today, to make just my present life a little bit more interesting and more rich. And this has really changed, because I made a list of like juicy life, so like activities I would like to invest into. And it can be like something as silly as, I want to buy myself another, I don't know, another pair of glasses, for instance, something like this. Or I wanted to do to try an activity, like some kind of acrobatic activity. I put it on my list, and then I realized, looking at this, actually that's not that expensive, and I can find ways to get it done through my life. Maybe not this month, but maybe in a few months. And it kind of builds a different relationship with money, because you're spending it as well on things that you really want. And that's also the same thing with trying to be smart on how I spend my money, but not overthinking it. Like, for instance, I used to feel guilty that I go to coffee shops quite often. Like, I like to work in coffee shops because I like to sit with my computer and there is like ambient noise around and I can get very focused and I can do a good amount of work, and then I go back home and I feel good, and then it helps me be motivated. And I do this like right now 4 days a week, and it's like 4 days a week, it's like 4 coffees. It's a lot actually if you compound on the month. But I also stop thinking about this and I'm like, you know what, I have a budget for coffee shop now. It's like I can go and I should feel fine about it. Same thing, if I see a book that I want to buy, I'm gonna buy it directly. I'm going to think, oh my god, is it too expensive? And I also tend to spend more money on experiences. Like, right now I'm just buying like bus tickets or train tickets to go outside of London and visit different cities that are around 1 hour and a half from there. And it's like very simple expenses that don't have to be very expensive actually, and still it gives me different things in my life as well. And I'm kind of like, it's rebuilding a little bit more of, yes, it's good to save, yes, it's good to invest, but you can also spend a little bit of this already right now and just enjoy yourself and yeah, just have this good relationship with, I currently have money so I can spend it. It's good as well. And yeah, other things that I do is always it's becoming something, and I think this is probably because I'm turning old or older, but I also try to pay now for convenience and for getting my time back, like, or like, anything that would make me feel better. Like, for instance, I remember I was traveling very, very early and I had to take the plane. Like, I would have needed to leave home at like 2 a.m. and get on the bus and to get the plane. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pay for an hotel night the day before, and I'm going to take an hotel next to the airport so I can wake up, like, do the travel the day before to the airport, sleep properly, then wake up, and then I can have the full day and I can enjoy when I arrive where I was supposed to arrive, rather than just being completely dead on arrival. So this is more like for my convenience and for my own well-being. Same thing, if I want to move somewhere, I have to move like places. I'm gonna just like rent a van with some people who can do it for me, rather than having to do all the work and carrying stuff here and there. And I feel it's like sometimes you think that you're gonna save money, but you're actually losing time, or you're actually making your own life harder. And for me, this is something that I'm also paying attention to. Right now, money is really a tool to make my life convenient. And if I can spend money and I can save time and energy and feel good and feel peaceful, I'm gonna spend it. So yeah, it's as I was saying, just different, yeah, just different emotions around money. Definitely a lot of different money mindset. Definitely more education. I don't see money as anymore as dependency, although I still feel that if you don't have any, then you are losing a bit of freedom. But I feel there are ways to build a different relationship with it and still feel good about it. And I'm sure there is more coming, because I have not been at the point where I have too much money. Maybe that's the thing. If you are a millionaire and you're watching this video and you are like, girl, you have no idea what it is when you are actually super rich. It's even harder to have a good money mindset. Please let me know. Tell me what I have to prepare for. If I ever end up there, then I will be ready. But I feel it's an ongoing process. So yeah, I would be curious to hear as well your own money mindset. If there are things that you've changed over the years and you are like, okay, I used to, yeah, to have this relationship with money, but now this is what I've learned and it's very helpful, and that's what I carry with me. I would really want to hear, because I feel I can still do better with that. And yeah, if you don't know me, my name is Chloe, and I'm recording daily videos on YouTube, and I talk about everything that I want for my 40s right now, because I just turned 40 a few almost 2 weeks ago right now. And yeah, I just going through all my life philosophies, every tool, everything that I think is good advice to live your life and just create something that works for you, and it's really representative of the life that you want to live. So if you want to follow that and share your journey as well in the comments, you can go for it, and you can also sign up to the channel down below, and I see you tomorrow for another video.